Have you ever stopped to think about one of the most absurd paradoxes of the 21st century? We, as a species, are spending billions of dollars and countless hours of code to create Instagram filters and TikTok effects that can meticulously erase our actual faces and replace them with a perfect AI version. Flawless skin, bigger eyes, a V-shaped jawline, a digital mask that isn't real, but is, for some reason, what we aspire to. We work tirelessly to make ourselves look like a perfect, soulless robot. And then, right after posting that perfectly robotic selfie, we scroll our feed, see an article about the latest Boston Dynamics humanoid robot, and we get the chills. We freak out thinking, "Oh my God, it looks too human." We spend all day trying to look like a machine and then have a panic attack when a machine looks like us. Welcome to the three-ring circus of the human brain, where you're not just a spectator, you're the main act, juggling your own contradictions. Today, we're not going to talk about whether AI is going to steal your job. Frankly, if your job is basically just replying to emails with "sounds good" or "circling back on this," a robot could probably do it with more enthusiasm than you anyway. Now, today, we're talking about something far scarier than an army of robots: your own brain and the logical traps it sets for you every single day. That AI filter versus human-like robot paradox, that's just the tip of a very, very illogical iceberg. Let's start with a classic trap that every single one of us is a victim of: the sunk cost fallacy. It sounds academic, but it's basically your brain saying, "Well, I've already dug myself this deep into the hole, I might as well keep digging, even though this hole is clearly filling up with scorpions." Ever sat through a terrible movie just because you already paid for the ticket? Or forced yourself to finish a disgusting meal just because you paid for it? Congratulations, you're a card-carrying member of a club with 8 billion people. This applies to everything. You stay in a toxic relationship because we've already been together for 5 years. You stick with a job you despise because I spent 4 years in college getting this degree. We don't make decisions based on what's best for our future. We make them trying to justify our past investments that are, for all intents and purposes, already gone. It's like being stuck in quicksand, and instead of trying to get out, you think, "Well, I'm already in up to my waist, might as well go for the neck, to get my money's worth." Our brains hate to admit failure. Admitting that 5 years of dating or 4 years of college was the wrong choice is more painful than just suffering for a few more years. And so, we continue to pay for a past decision with our future. This goes for tech, too. You hate your phone's operating system. It's buggy, it's slow, but you won't switch. Why? "I bought too many apps on this platform." That's the sunk cost. You're letting a few dozen bucks worth of apps dictate your daily tech experience for the next few years. Where's the logic in that? Next up, let's talk about its close cousin, confirmation bias. This is our brain's tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information that confirms what we already believe. Basically, your brain is your own personal hype man. It doesn't want to be challenged. It wants to be told, "You're so right, boss. You're a genius." You believe people with a certain zodiac sign are moody? You'll only notice the times they're frowning and completely ignore the times they're a ray of sunshine. You think a certain car brand is the best? You'll only read the 5-star reviews and dismiss all the negative ones as just haters. In the workplace, this is a disaster. Your boss believes marketing strategy A is brilliant. They'll only listen to the employees who agree and will completely ignore the data showing that the strategy is tanking. Confirmation bias turns us into willing participants in our own ignorance. We're not seeking truth, we're seeking comfort. And the ironic part is that the internet, the very thing designed to connect us to all of human knowledge, has become the most powerful engine for confirmation bias ever created. The algorithms on YouTube, Facebook, Google are designed to feed you more of what you already like. You like watching flat earth videos? Congratulations! You're going to be served an all-you-can-eat buffet of flat earth content for the rest of your life. We build our own information bubbles, and then we're shocked when we can't understand the people living outside them. And when we can't win with logic, what do? We pull out a dirty but incredibly effective weapon, the ad hominem attack. Instead of refuting an argument, we just attack the person making it. How can you trust his financial plan? Look at the way he dresses. Or, what does she know about raising kids? She's not even married. The person's argument could be perfectly valid, but we don't care. It's much easier to attack a personal trait than it is to engage our brains and analyze a complex idea. It's the trump card of the lazy and the intellectually bankrupt, and we see it everywhere, from Twitter arguments to corporate meetings. Don't listen to John's idea. The guy is always late for work. What does John's punctuality have to do with the quality of his idea? Absolutely nothing. But it's an incredibly effective way to discredit it without expending a single neuron. We do the same thing with AI. When an AI creates a stunning piece of art or a profound piece of writing, what's a common first reaction? Oh, but it doesn't have feelings. It's just a machine that mimics. That is a classic ad hominem attack on a non-human entity. We attack its nature instead of evaluating the product it created. Why? Because admitting that something soulless could outperform us in fields we once considered uniquely human is terrifying. So why is our brain, this incredible product of millions of years of evolution, so full of bugs? The answer is brutally simple. Our brains didn't evolve for absolute truth. They evolved for survival. On the ancient savannah, making a fast decision that was mostly right was better than making a slow decision that was perfectly logical. Hear a rustle in the bushes? It's better to assume it's a tiger and run, even if it's just the wind 99% of the time, than to stand there analyzing what is the frequency of this sound and does it correlate with the movement of a quadrupedal predator. The person who did that probably didn't live long enough to pass on their logical genes. Our brains are filled with these mental shortcuts, these biases. They were survival tools for our ancestors, but in today's complex world, they've become traps. And this brings us right back to where we started, the AI filter and the human-like robot. It's not just a contradiction, it's a convergence of all the logical fallacies we just talked about. When we use a filter, we're surrendering to a kind of identity sunk cost. We've invested so much in curating this perfect online image that we can't stop. Posting a real, unedited photo would feel like admitting a failure to maintain the perfect illusion. And at the same time, confirmation bias kicks in. We believe I look better with a filter, and we only seek out the proof that confirms it. The likes, the flattering comments. We ignore the fundamental truth that it's not actually us. And the fear of the human-like robot? That's a masterclass in the ad hominem attack and something called the uncanny valley. We're not scared of an industrial robot on an assembly line. It's clearly a machine. We're not scared of a cartoon character. It's clearly fiction. But a robot that looks almost human, but not quite, it falls into that valley of creepiness. Why? Because it breaks our brain's categories. It's not human, but it's not just a machine. It's something in between, and our survival-oriented brains hate ambiguity. Something you can't categorize could be a threat. But deeper than that, our fear comes from attacking its nature. We fear it because it's an imposter, a mimic. And here is the final, darkly ironic punchline. While we are afraid of robots for being an imposter of humans, we ourselves are working overtime to become imitators of a non-existent AI ideal. We fear a machine without feelings acting human, while we, creatures full of feelings, try to present an unfeeling, perfect version of ourselves online. We're terrified that AI will blur the line between human and machine, but we're the ones holding the eraser, frantically scrubbing away at that line from our side every single day. The fear of AI isn't really about technology. It's a reflection of our own insecurity about our identity, about truth, and about our place in an increasingly complex world. We're not afraid of machines becoming too much like us. We're afraid that when we look at an increasingly human-like AI, we recognize that we are becoming more and more like machines, programmed by social algorithms, repeating behaviors for digital rewards, and optimizing our image to fit an inhuman standard. So the next time you swipe right to pick a filter that makes your eyes just a little bigger, or you feel a shiver watching a robot walk, just pause for a second and think. The real question isn't whether machines are becoming too much like us. The more interesting question is, in our relentless quest to engineer the perfect digital self, are we accidentally becoming the very thing we're so afraid of?